Amigos de Aquí TV, en esta ocasión nos visita una personalidad de la ciudad de Mount Vernon, New York, que todos ustedes deben de saber. Y él es el alcalde Mayor Davis. Welcome to Aquitvshow.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
We are happy to have you here, especially during this season that a lot of residents are making sure that the decision that they make on the 10th of September will be the best decision for the community. And with that being said, I want all the Latino in Mount Vernon to know, what is your vision for the city of Mount Vernon? ¿Cuál es tu visión para la ciudad de Mount Vernon?
To make the city the best it can be, which includes embracing the art, embracing the culture of all of the citizens who live here, to create a partnership so that we can work together to fashion a city that will be truly unique in Westchester County. We want to have more building, create more jobs and opportunities, to make sure that this city is one of the most livable cities certainly in the state of New York, and to be a model for other cities, because as you know, many cities try to be exclusive. Mount Vernon is inclusive, and we continue to be so. So my hope is that we take this city and make it a model, not just for New York State, but for the country. Because we truly want to embrace all of the activities that are positive for the city, and we can learn from each other. And we already do it, but we want to just improve it more and more.
And I have to say that within the 16 years that you have been in the community, we have seen a little bit of all the things that you have mentioned, but today I want the Latino audience to know, how would you ensure that all Latinos in the city of Mount Vernon will be receiving the same services as other residents?
Oh, we do that already. I mean, you know, Latinos are involved in almost all of the things that we do. For instance, there are about 35 Latinos in the police department.
Wow.
Fire department Latinos are there. There's my secretary was Latino, Puerto Rican. So I don't see the difference. We don't say we're going to serve one group more than the other, because if we did that, that would be short-sighted, and the city would not thrive. So we want to make sure that all of the, as much as we can, all of the people are served in the same manner. And we want to get ideas, because good ideas come from different people. No one person has the great ideas. So if we can get people working, regardless of where they come from, because in a sense, all of us are immigrants. This country would not work without immigrants. Simple as that. And I enjoy, I know you hear this term, some of my best friends, but some of my best friends are Hispanics. I go to the Dominican Republic quite a bit. We have a sister city arrangement with the Dominican Republic. We have given police vests, even fire engines, hospital equipment, school equipment. So we are very involved in the Dominican Republic.
Good. Now, if you are reelected again, what will be the expectation, or what will be the diversity that you will show within your administration?
Well, we'll continue what we've been doing. I mean, we have a policy that, first of all, we do have a civil service system, and that system allows you to hire the top three candidates. So you go through a test, and you take that test, and then we make the decision as to who fits the job best. And there's nobody will be excluded because I, as an African American, understand exclusion, and it doesn't feel good. So we don't want to practice what I know to be wrong on anybody.
Now, in Aki TV, we always ensure to have a positive message to our youth, including visitors like you who have a history, not necessarily as a resident, but who have influence and experience running the city. So I would like to go on commercial, but before I do so, I would like to have our audience, hear some words, positive words. Now that we are entering a new school year, what would you tell your audience, those high school students, those elementary students who are about to start another year of adventure?
Well, I think and I'm in schools all the time. I speak at graduations.
Yeah, we see you.
Yeah, sixth grades and all that. Education is tremendously important because you can tell who's going to be problematic by the third or fourth grade. You can tell. And the reason I'm there a lot, first of all, we need older folks to mentor younger folks. And somehow we've gotten rid of that and to our own demise because the old person has lived, have made mistakes, and they have a knowledge base that young folks just don't have. And most of us remember that grandparent or that uncle or who helped keep us straight. And that's missing. And so we don't trust each other. And so one reason is that I have a good relationship with young folks is because I remember the love and the passion that my grandparents had for me. And even today, at my age, I still remember the counsel of older folks. So I want to pass that on. And I've been successful. When I go out in the streets, they all know me, from the little kids. And it's a good feeling to have a young child say, "Hi, Ernie Davis,"
Nice.
And they don't say Mayor, they say, "Hi, Ernie Davis." And so they come over and give me a hug. And that means everything to me because I remember how important it was to be loved and hugged by older folks. And so we're just trying to pass that on.
Ustedes en casita no se muevan, que continuamos después de una pausa. Y continuamos con esta entrevista exclusiva con el alcalde de la ciudad de Mount Vernon, New York, Ernie Davis. Welcome again. Now, in the previous session, we were talking about education. You sent a beautiful message to all those students in the city of Mount Vernon. But now, what would you tell the parents? How important is that support in a child?
It's extremely important. It's expectation. A child will do generally what is expected. And so the parents has to understand that the key to the future for that child starts with education. And of course, discipline and all of that enters the picture. But the child has to go to school willing and able to learn. And so often we blame teachers for the results of the child. But if the child is not ready to learn for whatever reason, the parents have to make sure that that child is ready to learn. That means they have to be in the house. Homework has to be done. You have to teach decorum. How do you act when you go out in the world? And you have to have some discipline. So when that child comes in, he or she is not a problem. Because you're not hurting the teacher, you're hurting the child. And what happens if that child doesn't get a sufficient education, they will start to repeat all of the negative things that we see is happening. You can always trace it back to the child. So I preach this all the time. I preach it to the men. Do not have children you cannot take care of, and practice and be careful because that child, you can't send it back. And every child owes the respect to be safe in their homes and to learn as much as they possibly can. Now, when we do that, we strengthen society. We strengthen the country.
Definitely.
And I think that the country has to put more emphasis on education rather than war. You have to do that because the strength of a nation is in your head, not in the gun.
I definitely agree with you. Now, this week is crucial. What are we expecting on Thursday? Because historically, elections were every Tuesday, right?
Every Tuesday, yeah.
Now they are
Tuesday.
changed for a Thursday. Why?
The state did that, and
Okay.
they didn't ask us to agree with it. They just went and did that. I'm sure they had their reasons. But it is on the 10th of September. The polls will be open from 6 to 9. And we hope that you come out. If you want a good city, you cannot have weak leadership. You have to have leadership, not for what people say they're going to do, but you should look at what they have already done or not done, and judge people based on, forget what they say, because they'll say anything to get elected. And we have seen that 4 years ago. Someone said it's time for a change. Yes, you changed, and look what happened. Now we've dug a hole so deep that we have to now do double work to get out of the hole. But fortunately, we are on the right track now. We have 3 major projects, one on McQuestion Parkway, Gramerton Avenue, 5th Avenue, Fleetwood, and there's even more on the table to be constructed. We know that there's going to be about $1 billion invested in Mount Vernon in the next 3 years. 3rd Street and 4th Avenue, most of those buildings there are going to be torn down. It's going to be 361 apartments. You're going to have garages. You're going to have commercial space. We're going to have restaurants. That whole area is going to change. And the reason I'm running is because I am an architect, and we've been able to be successful because I happen to be an architect and understand construction, understand development, because that's key, because that creates jobs and opportunities and absolutely cuts crime. So if you have people working, you have less crime and safety in the street, and people are happier. Most people want to work. But if there's no work, they will find other work that's not quite what we might want it to be. So that's why I'm running, to protect our future.
And I am impressed because the way you express yourself about the need of the community speak for your 16 years of experience working in this community. And I know you love Mount Vernon, you are a resident of Mount Vernon, but your vision, you know, gives more of that. And I'm happy that you are here today with Aquitvshow, sharing your vision and a little bit more with the audience. Now, what would you need from the community?
Oh, I need you to vote. I'll be on row 8A. Because regardless of what I say, unless you come out and vote, the wrong person can get in and then will set us back another 4, 5, 10 years.
For some reasons, Mayor Davis, we have a high number of Latinos that are registered to vote in Mount Vernon, but for some reason they just don't come out and vote. What would you tell them today?
Well, I would tell them that you know, they know me. I've been with them. I've been to churches, and I've been to socials, and I've been a part of that community. And if we're going to have a strong community, we must include the Hispanic population. It's just clear. We have 10% Brazilian in this city. So rapidly, and when I go to you know, to graduations, I hear a lot of Hispanic names. In fact, over at Thornton, the valedictorian is an Indian going to Harvard.
Excellent.
So a lot of people will, and not that we're perfect, we're not, but we're not as bad as people say we are. And we produce leaders. This city produces more leaders than any other city of a similar size. Last night we had almost 100,000 people come into Arts on Third. Big number. They had stars. Tito Puente was there, Junior was there. He's been there before, and I met him. And so we covered the bases. We had Spanish, we had Jamaican, we had old school, new school, young folks. We had a young man that's 12 years old, and he was performing.
Wow.
It was something pleasant to see. We had art, people displaying art, had all kinds of foods, and no hint of any violence. And we had almost 100,000 people.
Wow.
So it can be done.
Now, for those who are sitting at home listening to this great interview, who sometimes say, okay, I'm not voting this time, or I have no sympathy for any of the candidate. This is a very important election. And in order for those capital projects to continue, people need to get up and vote.
Absolutely, they really should, because if we don't, we'll suffer the consequences, because we have already seen what happened. It was only 4 years ago where nothing was built. Dole Center was closed. The YMCA was closed. Memorial Field that they talk about, but they don't tell you they're the ones that closed it. We have fixed playgrounds. We've done a lot of things in a very short period of time. And what we want to do is create new leadership. In the next 4 years, we will develop young folks like yourself who will, but you have to learn government. You can't just jump in and think that this is easy. It is not. As great as Mount Vernon is, it has a lot of moving parts, and it requires a lot of work. You have to go to, if the Hispanics are having something, if the Jamaicans are having something, the Italians are having something, Brazilians is having something, they expect that their mayor will be there. And so I try to do that. And some people think it's a waste of time. They miss the whole point. You have to be with the people to understand what their needs and what their wants are. And so you create a dialogue with people, and you can govern better if you do that.
Excellent. So, Mayor Davis, again, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
on behalf of the Aquitvshow team, we wish you the best luck.
Thank you.
Again, we want all the residents who are registered to vote to go to vote on Thursday, September 10th. And let's repeat that information again. From what time to what time?
From 6 a.m. To 9 p.m. the polls are open. And uninterruptedly all day there's voting. And I urge you to come out and vote early as you can. And if you need a ride, There will be phone numbers for you, and we'll pick you up and take you to the polling place.
I have information of one of your representatives in case our residents have questions and need a ride. And I believe the contact person is Aleida Castillo, and her number is 917-975-9678. And I'm going to say it in Spanish. Si necesita cualquier información sobre el día de las elecciones, si tiene preguntas, si necesita transportación, el contacto de la señora Aleida Castillo es el 917-975-9678 y lo tendrán en pantalla. Así que, amigos, no hay más que decir a la hora de tomar una decisión que no solamente le beneficia a usted personal, sino a sus hijos, a su comunidad. Ya lo han escuchado todo del experto, de la persona que tiene más años en esta comunidad, no solamente trayendo proyectos de beneficio, sino una persona que entiende las necesidades y que le representa, como lo ha hecho durante sus 16 años. Thank you, Ernie Davis, again. And
Muchas gracias.
the Aquitvshow team, will always be your home, and we wish you the best luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.